And now it's time for The Spotlight, a weekly production by the Byington Solway Broadcasting Class, where we shine our spotlight on East Tennesseans and their achievements and stories of inspiration. This week's Spotlight is James A. Haslam II, founder of Pilot Flying J Corporation. And now, here are your hosts for The Spotlight, Mikey Chavez and Zach Neely.
Welcome to The Spotlight. My name is Zach Neely.
And I'm Mikey Chavez.
We are very excited today to have on the program a very important person, Mr. James A. Haslam II, founder of Pilot Flying J Corporation. Mr. Haslam, thank you for being on here today.
Hey, thank you, guys. Guys, I have to talk fast to keep up with you. Huh?
Oh, man.
We're going to have a good time, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty good time, man. Pretty good time.
Mr. Haslam, let's start off with a get-to-know-you question. Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Detroit, Michigan. My father worked for the old Studebaker Corporation, traveled around a lot, lived in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, lived outside of Philadelphia in Wynwood, Pennsylvania, lived in Teaneck, New Jersey. And then my father went in the Army in World War II, went to high school at Lower Merion High School, whose most famous graduate is the best player for the Los Angeles Lakers. And he's who, Mike? We're going to Mike in the morning. Who's the best player for them?
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe
Went to
Bryant.
the same high school, not the same time.
Yeah.
But then my father got discharged from the Army, and I finished high school in St. Petersburg, Florida. I came up here in 1948, and except for 2 years in the Army, I've been here ever since.
Okay, that's amazing.
That was a good answer on Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. Yes, it was. He earned it, though. Mr. Haslam, I know you're a great businessman, but you're also a really great family man. If you don't mind telling us a little something about your kids.
Well, my oldest son, Jimmy, is the chairman of Pilot Flying J, and Jimmy went to school at UT. He went to Webb School. Was an athlete at Webb, went to school at UT. When he got at UT, he started working for Pilot, and I think he's most famous now for our family, and he's the chief instigator and the CEO, or not the CEO, but the chairman of the board of the Cleveland Browns. So he's having a good time doing that, and so are we.
Yeah, we are.
Mr. Haslam, you came to Knoxville to attend the University of Tennessee, and you played for a very special coach. Can you tell us about that?
General Nalen.
Yes, sir.
I'll put it this way. If General Nalen were sitting here today, I'd be nervous.
Oh, man.
General Nalen was a West Point graduate. He's a native of Texas. He was an outstanding football and baseball player and boxer at West Point. After he graduated, he went in the military, obviously. He came here to Knoxville in 1925 as the professor of military science and tactics in ROTC, UT. Became an assistant football coach, and in 1926 was named the head football coach. Except for being in the Army, he coached until 1952, probably one of the greatest coaches of all time. Very tough, as you can imagine, disciplinarian. He was a tough person, but a very fair person, very smart person. As you can imagine, from being a military person, he was a very tactical person. He had football pretty well figured out. I mean, the things they do now, like special teams, he called the kicking game. He was very good at things like that. Very successful coach, very successful man. And Tennessee Hill, still, if you go to Tennessee football games, you see the game maximums, the 7 things that he thought would be important in football.
How did actually playing football for Mr. Nalen help you
General
out?
Nalen.
Business career.
General Nalen.
Yeah, General Nalen. General Nalen. Forgot that part. Oh, man.
Help me in business? Okay, well, it's pretty simple. What do you do what's the first thing? What happened yesterday in football?
I don't know. I'm still on that Ravens winning the Super Bowl thing.
No,
Still
what
on
happened
that.
yesterday in college football?
The big recruits, the
Signing day.
Yeah, signing day,
Come
yeah.
on, Mike.
Yeah, come on, man.
Let's go. Signing day, right?
Yeah,
signing
Okay,
day.
so what's the first thing you got to do in football?
You got to recruit.
Yeah,
You got to recruit. Okay, then the second thing you got to do is you got to put him in the right position, right?
Yeah.
You might get a guy here, and he was a high school quarterback, but maybe he can't throw well enough, so you put him at running back, or maybe he was a running back, you put him at defensive lineman. You got to get him right place, okay? What's the third thing you have to do? You got to practice.
Practice, yeah.
Okay. Then the fourth thing you have to do is come up with all this time, you have to have an overall game plan, right? You have to figure, hey, if we're the Ravens, we can throw deep on the 49ers. We can throw deep on Denver or something like that. But then the fifth thing you got to do is you got to go out and win on Saturday. So in business, you got to recruit the best people to work for you. You got to put them in the right place. You got to train them. You have to have an overall game plan for your business. And then in Pilot, we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So every day is game day.
Yep, every day is game day.
Same thing.
Mr. Haslam, you're obviously a big supporter of UT. You played football there, and you're big on education there, and you do a lot of things for UT. So, on a much lighter note, what do you think about UT's new head football coach, Butch Jones?
I've been with Coach Jones 2 or 3 times, and I've watched what he's doing. I think he's going to be a great football coach. Coach Jones is a football coach. You look at him,
yes.
That's what he is. He's a football coach. He works hard. He emphasizes education. He emphasizes the family aspect. He's brought a staff with him that's his staff. They're all his people. I just feel like the future is very bright for Tennessee football. And I think yesterday's signing class, for the fact that he's just been here, month and a half, is really almost amazing that he's done as well as he has. So I feel very, very good about Coach Jones.
Definitely. That was the sports side of the story. I want to get a little more towards the business side, if you don't mind. How did the opportunity to start Pilot actually come about?
Well, when I got out of the Army, Jimmy, my oldest son, was a year old. I had to have a job. And I got out of the Army in February of 1955, and I needed a job, and I was offered a high school football coaching job down in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, which I really wanted to do, but I had a family support, and it was February, and they weren't going to start paying you till July. Then I was offered a job at a television station here, and in my ultimate wisdom, I thought, and this is hard for you guys to believe, but back then, that was, 45, 58 years ago, television was just starting. I wasn't sure it was making it. So a guy up in La Folla, Tennessee, who was in the gas station business, offered me a job, and I took that. I worked with him for 3 years, and then in 1958, we started Pilot.
Mr. Haslam, why exactly did you decide on the name Pilot for your business?
Well, that's kind of interesting. We, when you start in business, you want a name that's going to be a good brand. And so I don't think most people want to use their own name. They want to have a brand, and the brand has to stand for something and signify something. And quite frankly, our first choice was Jet. Jet airplanes were just starting then. And he thought, boy, that'd be a great name. So he sent that into trademark agency, and they said somebody has that. So I was over in North Carolina riding around, and I saw Pilot Life Insurance Company. I said, that's a good name, connotation, Pilot, in charge, short. And so I sent it in trademark office, and they sent it back, and that's how we got Pilot.
Interesting.
How has the business actually changed throughout the years?
Oh, my gosh. Well, we started off just selling gasoline. We had little small buildings, maybe a 10 by 15 building. Sometimes we just had a gravel lot. It wasn't even paid, 6 gasoline pumps. All we sold was gas, oil, cigarettes, soft drinks, and Lance cookies. And that was the first stage of Pilot, and that lasted till, I guess, the late 60s, early 70s. And then we said, hey, this isn't working. We have to sell more things. So we got in the convenience store business, and by, the middle 70s, we were pretty well, we were all in the convenience store business. All the gas stations were converted over. We had convenience stores. And in 1980, we heard about a new concept where you would take the things we knew selling gas in convenience stores and add diesel fuel, and we came up with the travel center concept, or we copied somebody. saw somebody down in Louisiana who was using it. And so we've evolved from a gas station to a convenience store to a travel center, which has a restaurant and facilities for cars, trucks, showers, a full service facility.
Is your first station actually still open to this day, or?
Well, no, it's not. We got it in 1958. We actually sold it about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's probably not operating.
Yeah. What did you know about petroleum before you started the business? Like,
well, when I started working for the company up in La Folla, I knew nothing about it. And you got to remember that we aren't producers or refiners, or we don't drill oil wells. All we do is sell it. So what we have learned over the years is how to market petroleum.
yes.
Interesting. Mr. Haslam, obviously you're a very successful man, with all these pilot gas stations throughout the country and Flying J. What exactly does the word success mean to you? And do you feel that you personally have achieved success?
Well, that's a great question. What is success? I don't think success is what you have done personally as much as what you have done for other people. At Pilot Flying J, we've created a lot of jobs. We've been able to help people in the community. We've been able to give money to the university, United Way, and things like that. And I think success is what you do to help other people.
Great answer.
What advice would you wish you've shared with somebody today that you wish you knew when you first started your business?
Well, let me answer that in kind of a different way, in that this is what we found out over a period of time. And there are 5 tenets that we have in our business, and I think it'll work, and it worked for Coach Jones in recruiting. It worked for y'all in your lives. And number 1, you got to do the right thing. You have to. Integrity is the first thing.
Of course.
The second thing is you got to work hard, and even more important, you got to work smart. I mean, Coach Jones, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to work hard, work smart, and build a good football program. The third thing you do is have to set high standards and high goals. In other words, if you were Coach Jones, let's use an example. He wants to win first thing, he's got to win the SEC East. Then he wants to win the SEC, and then he wants to win the national championship.
Yep,
so you have
course.
to set high goals, and you have to set high standards. In my words, people have to perform to certain standards. The fourth thing you have to do is hold people accountable. And if somebody messes up, he or she has to pay for it. You know what I mean? That discipline and everything. And the fifth thing you have to do is you have to, if people do all these things, you have to reward them. That might be in business, in monetary rewards and promotions, and things like that. So they're the 5 basic points that we have, and it took me a while to learn them, to tell you the truth.
Yes.
Mr. Haslam, as we've been discussing, you've done many incredible things, and you've had many incredible opportunities. And just recently, you were named chairman of the board of the Pat Summitt Foundation. What's that been like for you?
Well, of course, Pat Summitt is an icon. The 2 icons we've had in Tennessee athletics are General Neyland, who I had the privilege of playing football for, and Pat Summitt, who I now have the privilege of working for with the Pat Summitt Foundation. So it's a real honor. Pat is just unique. I mean, there's nobody that's won almost 1,100 basketball games. There's nobody who had every athlete who stayed there for 4 years graduate. You could go on, and she's just a great person. So hopefully we can take her success as a coach and translate it into success in trying to defeat Alzheimer's. And so it's a real privilege and thrill for me to be part of this endeavor.
Of course. Mr. Haslam, I've heard you work with some pretty famous people on the board. You mind telling us about some of your co-chairs?
Well, the two co-chairs are Peyton Manning, I think everybody has heard of.
Definitely.
And I tell you, you can't, people knock football all the time. And when they knock football, you ought to put up Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is everything that's right about everything you do in life and everything. And so you couldn't have anybody. I mean, I think that, Peyton Manning is obviously, you can argue any way you want to, but probably the greatest athlete we've ever had here at the University of Tennessee, certainly. And then Kara Lawson, who was as good of Lady Vol basketball player as we've ever had, and is now a television announcer, an outstanding person. I think Kara had a 4-point average in school at UT and has just represented the university so very, very well. So we're delighted they're going to be on the board.
Most definitely. You are a really big help in our community. Do you mind telling us about some of the other charities that you're involved in as well? Or?
Well, first place, I think that, you have to give back to the community, and to whom much is given. Everybody says it's to whom much is given, much is expected. If you look at the Bible, it says to whom much is given, much is required. So we feel very strongly about giving back to the community. Our company tries to be involved in as many things as possible. Natalie and I try to be involved in as many things as possible. Jimmy, Ann, and Bill have been the same way. We've all worked in some of the same things. We've all worked in some different things. Our whole family's been involved tremendously at the university, obviously, in United Way. My wife, Natalie, has been chairman of the board of the Symphony. My son-in-law, Steve Bailey, has been chairman of the board of the Knoxville Museum of Art. Bill Haslam, now the governor, has been chairman of the board of Salvation Army. Jimmy and Bill have all been United Way chairs, as has my daughter-in-law, Dee Haslam. So we've just worked on a lot of different things, and we've been active in the Boys and Girls Club, Emerald Youth Center. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but we tried to. If it's a worthwhile endeavor, we certainly want to support it.
Mr. Haslam, we just have a few more questions for you, and we want to talk about you a little bit more. The responsibility of running such a large corporation such as Pilot Flying J, obviously you have a very hectic schedule, and there's many things that come with that. So do you have any downtime for you and your family? And if you do have downtime, what do you enjoy to do during that time, or what do you do?
Well, first of all, I'm not running Pilot Flying J anymore, and I haven't for the last few years. So I have more downtime. But, we as a family like to do things together. I personally like to exercise, and I used to run all the time. I can't do that now. I like to ride a bicycle. I like to work out. We like to go to sporting events together. That's a great thing about the Browns. Our whole family, goes up there to the Browns games. So we like to do things as a family together. We like to vacation together. I've always liked the beach a lot. I used to run and play tennis. I've never been a person who has been, I guess, an outdoorsman type in that kind of things. But I love to be outside and do things like that.
That's excellent.
Of all the places in the United States, why did you choose Knoxville, Tennessee, to start your business?
Of course, I was living here. I came to school at the University of Tennessee, and I never thought of going anyplace else. And so we just started a business here in Knoxville. I will say this. There are, you could say, since we operate all over the country, there's some geographic things. You'd probably say, well, you could be at a place that was more centrally located, had better air service and everything. But I tell you what, this is the greatest place in the world to have a business. It's the greatest place to live. Our employees, we bring people, our team members in from all over the country. They love it here. It's a great place if you like the outdoors. You have the lake. If you like to fish, if you like to boat, there are plenty of golf courses, tennis courts. There are just all kinds of things like that. We have a great educational system. And just think about it. There's no place in the country that has a a top 25 research university, a national lab, the headquarters of the world's biggest utility, TVA, and the most visited park. So it's just a great place for business. We never have any trouble getting people to come here. And when we merged with Flying J and combined the companies, and we closed their headquarters out in Utah, and we thought, boy, people come from Salt Lake, it'll be, will we get them to come? Everybody that's come loves it here. So, we feel this is a great place.
Definitely.
Mr. Haslam, over the years, you've accomplished more than most people could do in 2 lifetimes. If you could pick just one thing that you're most proud of, what would that be?
Easy, my family.
Family.
That's an easy question. I have a wonderful family, wonderful wife, wonderful children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. That's an easy question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One last question, because I'm sure we all want to know this. What is your favorite type of music, and do you have a certain song that actually pumps you up for the day? Or
Rocky Top, of
Rocky
course.
Top.
Come on.
You got to get that Rocky Top in there, don't you?
But,
Most famous.
well, we're old-fashioned, and we like to listen to different kind of music and,
course.
music of the 50s, Frank Sinatra and stuff like that. But my favorite song is definitely Rocky Top.
Rocky Top.
And God Bless America.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not a bad selection at all, actually.
Well, Mr. Haslam, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you. This is our first actual ever Spotlight show, and it was an honor to have you as our first guest.
Well, guys, I enjoyed being with you, and I wish both of you and everybody here all kinds of success. Broadcasting is a great field. Looks like talk radio, talk TV, or whatever you think
Thank you, Mr.
is the thing of the future.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is the Spotlight. My name is Zach Neely.
And I'm Mikey Chavez.
Please tune in next time. Thank you.
This
Thank
has
you,
been The
guys. That's
Spotlight,
love.
a production by the Byington Solway Broadcasting 2 Class. Special thanks to producer Devin Chamberlain from Carnes High School, behind the scenes by Connor Byers from Powell High School, and Dylan Lunsford from Carnes High School, and our hosts, Mikey Chavez from Carnes High School and Zach Neely from Powell High School. Thanks for tuning in this week to The Spotlight.